thank you so much for being here today as we talk about the Agentic nonprofit and how you can scale and maximize impact overall for your organization. So I want to start with a huge thank you. Thank you for being here today. We know you have a lot of competing sessions, competing speakers, and we're just grateful that you're spending your afternoon with us overall. I also want to say thank you for all the incredible work that your organization is doing. You are on the ground doing very impactful work, so a huge thank you for all that you do. Now, over the next 30 minutes, we're going to go through a great adventure together. We have amazing speakers for you today. My name is Andrea Schiller. I'm a director of product marketing here at Salesforce. I'm joined by the amazing leadership team of Blue Star Families, as well as our incredible solution engineers to show you some of the latest innovation overall. So as mentioned, we're going to go on a journey. We have a jam-packed agenda for you today. We're going to start with talking about the age of AI and what that looks like for nonprofits. We'll talk about this concept of an agentic nonprofit overall. Then we're going to actually hear from an agentic nonprofit through Blue Star Families. From there, we're going to see an incredible demo around our newest innovation and how you can embed agents across your whole organization. And then we will end with some resources. So let's jump in. And what I want to start with is some data overall. So every year we host a nonprofit trends report, and this year had some really interesting findings. What we found is that nonprofits are really facing increasing hurdles. The number one challenge that many of you in the room are facing are around raising sufficient funds. Second challenge is around managing workload, and the third is seeing an increased demand for services. Does this sound about right to everyone? Yeah, seeing some head nods? Okay, great. Now, what the data also showed was that AI adoption is growing, which is interesting. Last year, we saw that about 12% of organizations were either using or piloting AI. And this year, 54% were, which is a huge jump. We're also seeing a big diversity in use cases. So last year, folks were saying that they were using AI to write email subject lines, which is a great use case. But this year, people were using AI to actually build out impact reports and inform overall program strategy, which was very interesting and compelling. Now, we've also heard and we also know that you can't meet full AI adoption overall until you have your data in place. And what we tend to see is that organizations have disconnected data, which leads to disconnected AI, which ultimately leads to disconnected experiences overall. Now, I want you to think here, what if there was a new way to scale your mission success in this age of AI, where AI is being embedded in a lot of what we do? Now, this is where the concept of the agentic nonprofit comes in. That's really our solution around how you can prepare for the age of AI. This is where humans and agents drive stakeholder success together. So organizations are going to be able to provide those better stakeholder experiences, see higher revenue, see greater productivity, and have more efficient operations. And what we found was that 54% of nonprofits were actually okay with agents working within their organization as long as the right guardrails were in place. Now, we heard this earlier today in the keynote, but agentic nonprofits have 4 systems in place. The first here is a system of context. So this is really that data question. How do you get your data across various systems into one specific view? And this context is going to allow agents to pull from that trusted data to make sure that what they're relaying and what they're actually pulling up for your staff to use is accurate and relevant and timely. Now, the second piece here is the system of work. This is the traditional CRM that many of you are using. This is our Agentforce 360 for Nonprofit solution set, where we've invested in our purpose-built solutions through Agentforce Nonprofit, as well as different industry solutions to meet the needs of your teams across fundraising, program and outcome management, case management, volunteer management, marketing and engagement, nonprofit IT operations, and grant making overall. So a lot of goodness happening there. And then we have our system of agency. This is where the agents are really going to come in and help take on a lot of that manual tasks that your organization has to really invest in. And then the system of engagement. So breaking down those data silos, making sure that you're able to connect and engage and collaborate with your org overall. All of this together gives you a really great blueprint to really understand how you can start becoming an agentic nonprofit. Now, with that, is my pleasure to actually hear from an agentic nonprofit. If we can bring up Lindsay Knight, the Chief Impact Officer of Blue Star Families, to talk a little bit about what they're doing at Salesforce.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much for being with us here today. I'm so thrilled to have you tell the Blue Star Family story. So you can kick off by telling us a little bit about the mission of the organization and what you're doing with Salesforce.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrea. Also, wonderful to see you all here today. Thank you for joining this session. Blue Star Families has been partnered with Salesforce since 2015. So really over a decade, they have been our partners in this work, really providing the information, source of truth, data backbone to everything that we do. So what is it that we do? Blue Star Families is the nation's largest military and veteran family serving organization. We have over 440,000 members. We serve 1.5 million families each year. And we are also growing about 20% year over year. Part of that growth, one, it's a great challenge and problem to have when you're talking about data, but it also means that in terms of scalability and resilience for our organization, we want to be really attuned to how our staff can be more efficient, more effective, have more time to put toward mission and impact-based work. And we want to make sure that everything our staff members are doing are going toward our mission. So what is that mission for Blue Star Families? For those of you who don't know, and actually raise your hand if you are a civilian in this room. You're not military connected. Yep. To be totally honest, I wasn't either before I joined Blue Star Families. I'm not a military spouse and I am not a veteran, but I do have a background in political science and community engagement and really focusing on why we as a country need to be connected to one another because we share common public spaces and values with one another. So Blue Star Families, if you are unaware of that population or some of the challenges that population engages in over their lifestyle with the military, is that 70% of military families don't live on a base anymore, and they move every 2 to 3 years. It's actually over 600,000 families that move every year. So when you think about that in terms of community connection, resource connection, belonging, all of those challenges are exacerbated and compounded for military families. So Blue Star Families views our role as to create a source of belonging and the ability for military families to thrive in the communities that they call home. We think technology and AI in particular has a huge role to play in that. And frankly, we don't think we can scale in our mission if we don't have technology backing us on that front. So we've really decided to focus on a large-scale strategic digital transformation of our organization for the past 4 to 5 years. That's focused on making sure our data systems and platforms are in place, that they have clean data in them, that staff know how to use them, and that we are also using all of those products to increase member engagement and service delivery. So you're going to hear from a member of our tech team today who is our project leader for really implementing our Agentforce AI grant, which is phenomenal. We call it STAR. I'm going to let Janine get into the details there. But it really, I want everyone in the audience to know it's not a standalone effort. We're using STAR alongside an ethical AI framework that we developed. We're using that alongside natural language processing and community sentiment analysis with all of our members' feedback through our chatbots and through our neighborhood, which is our online digital platform that 220,000 of our members use. So we are really being targeted with how we deploy AI and data collection and to what ends we're using it for. So just wanted to give a foundation for everything that Janine is going to be discussing, but just thank you all for attending, and I can't wait for you to see our demo on how STAR functions and what it means to our team and our members.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lindsay, and thank you for all the work that Blue Star Family does. Let's give them a round of applause. Yes. Thank you, Lindsay. So what I love about the Blue Star Family story is you started with this data strategy. You were able to embed AI overall, and you have an incredible agent that I'm so excited for you all to see. So with that, I would love to introduce Janine, if you want to come up and talk to us about the STAR agent.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you all for being here today. I am Janine Kavickia. I'm a Senior Director of Project Management at Blue Star Families. And I'm delighted to introduce you to Jane Millspouse. She is our typical Blue Star Families end user. In those dark before times, before STAR came into our lives, Jane reported spending up to 20% of her work time on low-impact data entry. So for her, that could look like 4 minutes just to create an account, 6 minutes to create an interaction, and another 6 minutes to create an opportunity. If we were to imagine that you are Jane here in the audience, maybe she went to an event just like World Tour, maybe she went to some other dinner, et cetera, met a potential new stakeholder, investor in our mission, And she had to create all 3 of these records. That's 16 minutes that it's going to take her to reflect one engagement. Thankfully, we do have our Agentforce agent now, Star, saving time and resources. And with Star's help, Jane can create all 3 of those records in 8 minutes or less. So let's take a look. All right. Jane is getting back to her desk here. She's going to sit down, open Salesforce, and tell Star, hey, I need to make an account for Timothy Tester. And Star, thanks to fuzzy search, is going to look through our Salesforce database and come back and tell her, hold up, Jane. Turns out there's 2 records here, and one of these might be who you're looking for. So Jane has already saved time and improved record accuracy and data integrity. She is not creating a duplicate record she doesn't need. So she chooses the correct one and she tells Star, great, thank you. I need to make an interaction with Tim Tester. I just met him. We had a great conversation. Star will start by reconfirming we are putting the correct interaction on the correct account. So again, accuracy is hugely important to us. And then Star will walk Jane through an interaction step by step. As you can see here, along the way, there's a great deal of help language. So in this case, Jane gets all of our naming conventions. So there's no more excuses. It's entered properly the first time. Accuracy is great. She has a space to put in all of her notes, how excited Tim is to support Blue Star families. We're excited to work with Tim, what the next steps are, all those important details. Even better, Jane can add all of the participants in this interaction in one place and create one interaction that will appear on all of the accounts for each of the participants. So gone are the days where you have to make 10 different records to reflect 10 different people in your meeting, but it was all one engagement, maybe with a company, maybe at a donor event, those sorts of things. After filling in the rest of our necessary fields for Blue Star families, we have a complete and accurate record. And importantly, what you can see here is our interactions live on 2 separate objects in Salesforce, so there's fields on both of them. Star properly adds those fields on the correct object. Jane never has to leave her screen. She does this all with Star's help. Finally, Jane says, lucky us, this was an opportunity. It's a gift record. Tim wants to have a gift conversation. Star shows her all the information she needs up front. She can continue step by step if she'd like, or as you see here, she can put all the information into one prompt and Star will categorize that into the correct field for her. Importantly, Star prompts Jane to add the allocation so we know where Tim wants his gift to go. That was actually the most missed step at Blue Star Families before Star came in, arguably the most important field. And here we have a complete and accurate opportunity as well. I think if you look at your stopwatches, Andrea, you'll see we are well under that 8-minute mark. So
amazing. Let's give a huge round of applause because that was an incredible example of a bespoke agent to meet a really important need that Blue Star Family has. So I actually want to drive everyone to the impact slide because this is unbelievable. So Janine, can you tell us a bit about the impact that this agent has had at Blue Star Families?
Absolutely. So with our goal of reducing our data entry time by 50%, once we are fully deployed across the organization, that is going to open up to 400 staff hours a week of time that we can redeploy to mission-driven work. So our staff are ecstatic. That is more time that they are in the community serving our military families. Mm-hmm. Every hour that we save is an hour reinvested into making those social connections that our military families are looking for. It's services we can offer them. It's being the trusted source of answers when they have questions. That's really game-changing for executing our mission. Yeah. We have also, with this time saved, I myself are more on an internal-facing team, so this is the kind of thing that really excites me. We have just launched our first ever direct marketing multi-channel fundraising campaign at Blue Star Families. And with the incredible amount of records that will entail, particularly accounts, interactions, and those all important, we hope, gift records opportunities. Certainly without STAR, without agentic technology, that would not have been possible. So we are actively raising the resources we need to continue serving our 400,000 plus members and growing.
I mean, absolutely incredible. I'm so many round of applause for Blue Star Families, because the impact here, the fact that you're able to save 400 hours, 20K per week, that's just absolutely incredible. So excited to see the success. Now, many in the room maybe don't know where to get started and would love some advice. So what advice do you have for someone getting started with Agentforce?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. I will tell you, we had a tiger team of about 7 people who were running this project to build our agent. And we really thought we knew it all at the beginning. I am not afraid to admit that, a little sheepishly. We thought we knew what our teammates were going to tell us they wanted. They want fancy dashboards. They want click a button scenarios, write me an email. Turns out we were wrong. So my best piece of advice is invest the time up front in a thorough and deep discovery. Ask everybody you can at your organization what is keeping them from doing the work that they set out to do. We ended up finding out that these 3 records are records that everybody at Blue Star Families interacts with at some point in their career, which means the tool that we've built, STAR, is one that our teammates are using. They're excited to use, they're excited to adopt. So do your discovery.
Yes, love that. Well, thank you so much, Janine, for being here and for all the work that you're doing, that Lindsay's doing, that Blue Star Families is doing. So,
and thank you all as well.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we just heard an incredible story around Blue Star Families and how they are an agentic nonprofit. But as mentioned, many of you may not know where to get started. So as you're thinking about the art of the possible, think about what your journey may look like. Maybe you want to embed agents to answer basic questions or to take action on demand, or for many advanced organizations, take action autonomously via agents. So what we've worked really hard to do at Salesforce here is to, again, provide you this Agentforce 360 for Nonprofits platform that will allow AI agents to be embedded throughout your organization. And to really show you what that looks like, it is my pleasure to introduce Lex Grace, our solution engineer, and Christina Hernandez, our amazing demo drivers. So that I will pass it to you.
Thank you, Dre. And what we saw from Blue Star Families was a really powerful example of what a bespoke agent looks like to save their staff time while also increasing data fidelity. And Christina and I next are really excited to demonstrate some additional agentic support across a number of other stakeholders at your nonprofit, because the biggest topic on minds of our nonprofits today is that staff capacity. We know that your staff are wearing multiple hats, having to do more with less while they're battling burnout. So Agentforce for Nonprofits answers that question. What if your staff could instantly delegate their most time-consuming administrative tasks? So come along on the next few minutes while Christina and I demonstrate what it looks like to scale our impact with AI riding along as our little agentic assistants. Okay, first things first, let's start as our executive director. Now, I'm starting my day getting a quick rundown with my Today view in Slack. I can see instantly, okay, I've got a board meeting, action items I have to take care of. I also have a major donor prospect visit this afternoon. I've got to prep for that. Now, rather than pinging all of my staff or that donor team to manually get me up to date, what if I just go ahead and click this little prep button, and I've got Slackbot that in just seconds is going to generate a concise donor brief for me. And this is a brief that's actually informed by all of our Salesforce data, our team's collaborative efforts that have been recorded in Slack and across our system, and it's delivering for me not just donor history summaries, but data-rich insights about this donor and personalized suggestions that connect our steps' outcome and our programmatic efforts directly to Jordan, our prospective donors' funding interest areas. So in just a few seconds and one little click, as a fundraising leader, I'm up to speed and prepped to lead a really meaningful meeting with this important prospective donor in our organization. And I did it all from my little digital workspace with Slack. Okay, now let's see this from the perspective of an actual constituent. So now I'm Jordan, and let's say it's actually maybe 8, 9 p.m. last night. I'm trying to just finish getting my taxes filed for this season, and I realize I'm missing my giving receipt from last year. Now, it's 8 p.m. I could send an email. I could phone Steps and leave a voicemail at the development office and hope somebody gets back to me tomorrow. Or I could just go on the website. I can interact with this really friendly donor support agent and just ask, hey, can I get a copy of my 2025 tax receipt? And instantly, our support agent gets to work. It asks Jordan to verify her email. And this is what authenticates into this donor's specific giving history. And then the agent actually generates that tax receipt giving summary for me. And not only does that, but it just emails it instantly off to Jordan. So instantly, in just a matter of seconds, I got personalized support from his support agent that was available to me 24/7 without Jordan having to actually use up even a minute of valuable staff time. Okay, so we've been working in Slack so far, a little on an external facing site. Let's connect the dots back into Salesforce. So if you are brand new to Salesforce, or if this is your first time seeing Agentforce Nonprofit, just take this screen in for a second. Check out how user-friendly, intuitive, clickable, and drillable this experience is for me. It's data-rich with tons of insights and collaborative, up-to-date information across our team. Not just a static workspace, but really this interactive, purpose-built for fundraisers and different teams of our nonprofit to work in. Okay, so I promised you that we are staying up to date no matter where we want to work. So check out the donor support agent actually automatically logged that support request from Jordan last night. And if I check out my files list, I see that tax receipt that it generated uploaded and saved directly to Jordan's record. So this is data hygiene excellence without any data manual entry happening. And of course, we're also staying up to date across the team. So our executive director was prepping for this meeting in Slack. I get to stay up to date, see all the latest and greatest. So that gives me confidence as a gift officer to move on to my next tasks, knowing we're all in the loop. And by the way, even though our executive director prepped for that meeting in Slack with Slackbot, if I want to work best in Salesforce, I've got that agent to help me too. See how our gift officer can get the same kind of personalized, data-rich briefing right within Agentforce Nonprofit as well. Okay, now our program manager, meanwhile, has been dealing with an influx of applications for the community nutrition program. Now, historically, if I get dozens of applications that come in overnight, this might take me the whole day, maybe multiple days to sort through, process, and review all of those applications. But in this new way of working, I've got a participant management agent that's gonna take a lot of the manual work off my shoulders. So I open my agent and I ask, hey, surface all the new applications that I need to review, but don't show me the ones that have been auto-approved, just the ones that need my specific manual review because of special accommodations, right? So this allows me to feel confident that AI did a ton of work in the background. It reviewed and auto-approved standard applications that met that criteria so that I only have to spend my valuable time and energy on what needs my very specialized input or very like human empathetic level of review. This saves me time so that I can spend 100% of my time on very valuable, meaningful interactions here. Now, if you're maybe a program manager, a fundraiser on the front lines, you might not need to know how all this plumbing works. You just want really reliable, good AI outputs. But for the technical folks in the room, what's making this level of intelligence and automation possible is the platform plus Data 360 working together to power really reliable, secure, and trusted agentic output. Okay, last things last, let's visit a volunteer manager who's actually dealing with a bit of a scheduling crisis. We've had some last minute cancellations for an important food drive shift that's happening this weekend. And in the old way of working, this might look like an extensive call down list. And I'm like playing phone tag with a bunch of volunteers all day, seeing if this shift can still happen. But in the new way of working, I'm just gonna ask my volunteer management agent for help. So I ask, hey, find me 3 volunteers who have availability on the weekends and have cleared the background check. And again, our agent is doing all of that work behind the scenes for me that I don't have to do and surfacing up only 3 viable candidates. Now notice that this can be criteria, background checks, it could be skills-based, it could be certifications that are required, all personalizable to your organization's processes and policies. And by the way, we're working smarter, not harder, so do me one more favor and actually draft that urgent outreach email for me, please, my volunteer agent, and thank you for doing that work, right? So notice in less than 60 seconds, our volunteer manager was able to resolve a scheduling mini crisis, and now we can move on to our next meaningful tasks for the day. Okay. Let's take a step back and quickly review all that we've accomplished because we started with a executive director who was able to instantly prep and prepare for her day and lead very meaningful meetings. Then we had a donor who interacted with a support agent, got that instant personalized support. We checked in on a gift officer who was able to not only see a full picture of her donor and prep for those meaningful interactions, but do so staying fully in the loop of her wider collaborative team. A program manager was able to scale his impact without having to scale actual headcount. And then finally, a volunteer manager solved a scheduling crisis in just a few seconds here. So this is the power of our agentic layer working hand in hand with that data layer for that data reliability and integrity and our purpose nonprofit built apps in nonprofit Agentforce, right? So this is really what allows us to bridge that capacity gap and enable our staff to really do more with the resources we have today so that we're able to spend less of our time on admin and more time doing what nonprofit staff do best, building those relationships and strengthening our communities. So thank you so much. Back to you, Dre.
Hey, thank you so much, Lex and Christina. Great job. Yes, hopefully everyone has some ideas turning around what you can do within your organization as you are investing in agents and Agentforce overall. So as mentioned, we are really investing in making sure that we can help you get started with agents. So we have a variety of agent templates and actions that you can take advantage of as you are trying to understand where you should get started. And our templates and actions are really aligned to a lot of the use cases that you saw. Things like prospect research, donor support, participant management, and volunteer capacity and coverage overall. So our time is coming to an end, but I want to leave you with some resources. Please be aware that you can find this content on demand at Salesforce Plus. There are a variety of different trailheads that you can take advantage of. And then, of course, if you want to read our trends report, that is available for you as well. And if you're going to be here with us for the rest of the day, we have 3 sessions that I want to call out. The first is really focusing on that overall collaboration with your organization. That's happening at 4 p.m. We have a nonprofit Reflect and Connect if you want to connect with the community to really talk about the day and some learnings. And then finally, we will have a session focused on creating donor-centric journeys with Agentforce marketing taking place in Theater 2. So with that, a huge, huge thank you again for spending time with us today. Hopefully you learned a ton, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.